welcome to this week's Spinfoil Theory. We're about to take a dive into another mystery from the lore of Destiny the game. Specifically, we'll be giving high-level scrutiny to popular, emerging, and outlying theories, then judging them. If you have any questions or theories of your own, write to us at spinfoiltheory@gmail.com or visit us over at spinfoiltheory.com. And now, let's put on our spinfoil hats and get a little crazy. Here comes this week's show. Welcome to this week's Spinfoil Theory podcast, everyone. This is your host, Taylor-B. With my co-host here, LadyLucida. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really digging this season. I'm kind of insane. I'm already season pass rank 100 because I really wanted the armor.
Yeah.
And the emote. I wanted that bad because Dreaming City is that is my favorite destination in all of Destiny right now. Besides the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought and Hive stuff, that's tied. But Dreaming City is just my favorite place. I just love the aesthetic. I love the Awoken. It's just so cool. So when I saw that I had a inking suspicion prior to this season that we're currently in would be Dreaming City themed. So I might have hoarded up max amount of bounties on all 3 characters to get me a head start day 1. Day 1 I was 20. I'm kind of insane. But now my Warlock has the cool armor, and I look like I belong in the Dreaming City. I mean, I already did before, because I was wearing the Last Wish armor, but now I'm wearing, it looks more like Queen's Guard-esque, with, the Queen's badge and the white fur. This season so far is really good. What about you, man?
It's not really my aesthetic, but I definitely recognize the drip. I just want to put that out there. I feel like, from the seasonal armor and the ornaments to the Iron Banner armor, which you may have heard me make some jokes on this or other shows, but, I still maintain that it's like the, in the sort of preview capture that Bungie shows for the Iron Banner armor, I feel like the Titans are saying for honor, and the Warlocks are over there for glory, and then the Hunters straight up look like they're outside of G.I. Joe or something like that, and they're just for Cobra.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Iron Banner armor, but I think it's bugged right now where it's not taking shaders. So if I could shader it and look at it a little bit more, I'd be a little bit maybe I could salvage the boots or the gauntlets on one of my characters, but just the armor straight out, I'm just not really my style. But other people probably like it.
Well, so that's actually something that I think I retweeted on the show's account maybe today. For anyone listening in the future, this is week 2 of Iron Banner, so the 1st of September 2021. And I think that's something DMG tweeted out today, actually talking about that it's on their radar. They possibly had already identified it, so the fix is ready. They're just waiting for a hot fix so that maybe they're as soon as next reset.
Nice, that's good. Yeah, because a lot of the new exotics that came out this season, the Nothing Manacles, very good exotic, by the way. I recommend you guys get it. It's so spicy, especially with Nova Warp. I have a beautiful build that synergizes really well with Scatter Nades and Nova Warp and Elemental Wells, that I pretty much have my abilities constantly. It's beautiful.
That's pretty cool.
It's beautiful. So that's pretty cool. No, backup plan is interesting. I like that the color changes based on what subclass you're wearing. I just wish that was also reflected when you're transmogging. Because
I only have the Radiant Dance Machines and I barely used them.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be using them now before they put the hotfix in.
Yeah. I don't know, I've been playing on my Warlock so much this season because, my Warlock's Awoken. This is Dreaming City. This is a little aside for you listeners here. I pick whatever my main is for the season based on the seasonal content. So if it's Dreaming City, Awoken, Savathun, Taken, Dreaming City topics, that kind of thing, I'm my warlock. If it's like Hive and Eris and creepy stuff, it's gonna be my hunter. If my Titan, if it's like Elixni, Vex, Clovis Bray, that kind of stuff, I'm my Titan. Or Black Armor. Forgot Black Armor. Can't forget that. So that's because I'm like pretty flexible with any class. Like I can be Hunter, Warlock, Titan. So that's kind of how I pick what class I am for things.
I can be the different classes, but I have to admit, like I genuinely stray toward Hunter. Like that's my comfort zone. That's where I started. That's like I'm not a single character only. Like I did start playing last week in week 1. I did start playing on my Titan, which, depending on the class I'm a little more comfortable with, or the subclass, I guess I should say. But yeah, like I just, I always do everything with my Hunter to the max, and then the other 2 characters, it gets decreasingly thorough. So depending on the season, depending on like what flavor I'm feeling, sometimes it's the Warlock, but usually it's the Titan, I'd say.
Yeah.
And like, then the Warlock just gets like the dregs. Like,
poor little guy. Poor guy. But yeah. I'm definitely liking, like, just looking back at this, like, this is the last season we have of the year with Beyond Light. And I really think Bungie did a really good job of, like, weaving the story. Like, we went from Beyond Light with Season of the Hunt, and then because of what happened there, then Season of the Chosen happened, and because of Season of the Chosen, then Season of the Splicer, and literally the ending of Season of the Splicer leads directly into this season. I just love that so much. Like, you can literally see the payoff of everything that's been happening.
Yeah, you can see it live. You can see your interactions reflected, in game, positive or negative, and I appreciate that too. So, like, just to say it flatly, everyone listening, the topic for this week are our reactions and educated predictions we're doing it from week 2 because we did the showcase last week, but for Season of the Lost, I believe that's season 15.
Yes.
And so these are our like reactions to what we've seen so far and sort of predictions as to what we might see going forward into the Witch Queen in February of next year. So we got a lot of like little weekly bits and stuff potentially ahead of us. And so there's a lot that could happen and that are going with it. But to start, I think one thing that's been really striking me, and I think it's on a lot of people's minds, is Crow used to be Uldren.
Yes.
Interacting once again with the Awoken people, Mara specifically.
Yeah.
And I've got some real thoughts about that, especially when we get to this week's lore, because if you do the exotic quest for this week, so Truth to the Stars Part 2, Mara's dialogue, she lies to her face about the nature of the Awoken. Like, she doesn't know we've read Truth to Power.
Yep.
And she finally suggests that some Awoken had to be coaxed or helped to be formed by her in the distributary. And I'm just sitting there like having read Truth to Power and the Myriad or the Myriad.
Yeah, the Myriad and Awoken of the Reef. It's those 2 lore books. Yeah. Yes, it is it's Nye 1 and 2, which is Mara talking to Alice Lee about what the truth is.
I think she's like Elise Lee at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll just start it from here.
Good job.
So yeah, one thing that's really interesting is how at the end of the Maracena, it's revealed that Mara has reimagined all of the Awoken in her own image, and basically bent them to her will. Like they're not themselves, they're Mara's version of themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so the idea that she's trying to like cast doubt on even the crow, because she tries to say things like, oh, even now I can see it, he's still the same way, lost. Like she says, I think he seeks validation from like Ikora and the Guardian, or no, I'm sorry, it's his ghost in the Guardian. And it's just all like, are you trying to gaslight me? Like, I've read your story, Mara.
Yeah, I think that's really
I know
interesting.
the truth.
I just think that's interesting. I would have hoped, I guess it would have been like a nice little touch if Mara is like, okay, you know the truth. If you have like those lore books. Kind of like a toggle or something. That would have been cool, but I get it. It's interesting to see, like, we know the truth, and Mara is presenting some other truth. That isn't, or I guess a lie. It's not really a truth. It's her interpretation of what she did. She's like, I helped the people. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Well, no, it's definitely one of those things where, kind of like what we were joking about earlier on Twitter about truthiness.
Yes, truthiness. What is the truth?
Yeah, you kind of believe, like, it's the truth for you, whether or not it's factually true.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a lot of what, like, Mara, that's a lot of what, like, Savathun rely upon. So it's really...
Because Mara and Savathun, they're mirrors of each other. They both operate the same way, sort of a kind of thing. Does that make sense?
I agree with, like... Yeah, I agree with, like, their kindred tactics.
Yeah, well...
One thing that... I'm sorry?
Like, literally, it's in one of the Mara entries where she's looking at the Oracle engine, and every time she looks at it, she sees her family, and then she also sees the Ozium dynasty, so Oryx, Savathun, and Zivarath as, like, the mirror. So, like, Oryx, he's basically a hunter, and Crow is very curious. He's going out into the reef, finding these Ahamkara, finding this, finding that. So they're like a match. Savathun and Mara are a match because, they're both very secretive. Like, that's Mara's whole MO, is she keeps secrets, like, in the distributary, in the reef, even now in the Dreaming City. And so Savathun and Mara are like mirrors of each other. And then Zivu Arath and Shiraido are mirrors of each other because they're both like the warriors of the group. If that makes sense.
Can I offer a further mirror of or a further example of mirroring, or a sort of kindred organization? Guardians in the Vanguard.
Yes, that's another one has made, like, there's three. So it's Ikora in that trinity with Mara and Savathun, because
Well, yeah, there are the mentors, the one for each class. There are 3 principled classes, and there are subclasses and subfactions within there. I don't mean to say it's simple, but the Hive aren't that simple either. And it's really interesting, especially as we approach, not to dip into last week's episode too much, but especially as we approach the Witch Queen, where you start to see aspects of what's traditionally been our side of the spectrum as Guardians starting to appear on the other, i.e. Hive ghosts. And it just really makes me wonder, sort of back to a couple of my theories we've talked about recently on the show, but I'm wondering if these game pieces really aren't so different in their structure or what they're able to do.
Yeah.
i.e., like the gardener and the winnower pieces in the metaphor of the game.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if we happen to interact with them in this space where there's only one gardener piece left, and that's the traveler.
Yeah.
And then you have all these darkness winnower pieces, these pyramid ships, sort of eating up the board.
Pretty much. I'm interested, I guess, to see how, like, the big picture, how everything goes with
The
the
final
final
shape.
shape. Yes, like where everything like leads to.
One thing I've been wondering personally is okay, and this will. I have some other little tangential lore stuff I really want to talk about before we get too far in. But the um the one thing that really makes me wonder about the relationship between Mara and Savathun and how they're able to cooperate is it's not made clear how Mara is to help her, and so there's been a couple theories up there. A lot of people have noted the Ahamkara egg, air quotes, because we don't know if that's actually what it is, in her throne world, in her little space in the Dreaming City,
Yeah.
and and we've also had a lot of people note that the Techians, or what she do, or what she and they did, all the way back in the Taken King, are that's paracausal magic. So is she going to magic the worm out of
I
Savathun?
mean,
Like
that's a possibility. I mean, that's the whole, like, that's one way they could do it. They could, use wish magic to wish away the worm, and it gets rid of the worm, but, you know, Witch Queen
what's
happens.
yeah what's to stop. Yeah, it's what's to stop that worm removal from being sort of like a like the monkey's paw
I mean,
wishes in classic TV
that's how
trope.
all Ahamkara wishes are. They always have a monkey's paw.
I feel like some people got what they wanted.
I like, yes, they do, but
I want to slay a dragon. A dragon appears. You slay it. Win.
but Ahamkara can also transcend death. They're like, haha, we don't need that. We don't need, like, their bones still talk to us in the Dreaming City. Riven talks to us after we killed her. She's still like, sup, I'm here. How you doing?
Well, here's something that makes me wonder, because we also learned, speaking of Ahamkara, we also learned this season specifically through some of the weapon lore. I don't remember which specifically, but that Savathun interacted with Shax
Yep.
before she took over Osiris in the Dreaming City through the Ahamkara bones.
No, it's not in the. It's not
So
in
that
the
makes
in the Dreaming City. It was.
or not the Dreaming City, sorry, in the
Yeah.
last city, through the Ahamkara bones that hang above him.
Yep. It's very like, oh shit, that's not good. Well, that explains where he learned Savathun's song from.
Well, but that's here's what I'm getting though. Why can she talk through their bones?
Huh. Oh.
What if they were always something that she produced?
I mean, there was in the Books of Sorrow where Savathun and her coven went into the harmony where the gift mast was, and they found something, but we never figured out what they found out.
Well, yeah, but the whole thing about the harmony and the gift mast is I still wonder if the tree from a few seasons back wasn't a similar play or like offering on behalf of the Traveler, the Tree of Silver Wings.
Okay.
Uh, well, I mean, because I believe right after it was Arrivals.
Yeah, no, we plant the tree and then we don't
Yeah,
plant the tree, sorry, Osiris. The real Osiris planted the tree.
yeah,
And we haven't seen him since.
yeah. Rip. Um, but yeah, it's something that really makes me wonder as to is she able to impose her will over them, or are they an extension of her in the first place?
I'm not sure.
Because I mean, what's a better way to learn someone's secrets than to grant their deepest desires?
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of room for that in the season to really expand upon stuff. One other thing that really struck me from this season is the ghost shell lore from the season pass.
Yes.
Spider is trying to get Drifter to smuggle him out of the reef.
Yep. Makes me think that Witch Queen is gonna be not Witch Queen. During Witch Queen, Forsaken is gonna become free, and then after Witch Queen, when Lightfall comes out, bye bye Dreaming City, bye bye Tangled Shore. That's my theory, as of right now, is that the Dreaming City and the Tangled Shore will be vaulted soon. Because I mean, if we break the curse at the end of the season, there's no reason to be in the Dreaming City anymore. If Spider's gone, there's not really any reason for the Tangled Shore. So, a lot of interesting things
I
happening.
could see that. Like I said, for me, I think the Spider wanting to get out is smart. I would love to see him find a home in the Elixni Quarter, like a little corner,
Nah, he's too mean.
just
He's like a mob
or
boss.
maybe the underground
He's a
part.
mob boss. We don't need him with House Light.
We don't need him there, but I think the story would definitely benefit from keeping him around. He is the kingpin.
Yeah.
He is the Elixni kingpin. And I really look forward to seeing how, because it sounds like Drifter's doing it. If you look at the flavor text in the Junkyard stuff from Eververse, so they don't do lore tabs for Eververse stuff anymore. Thankfully, but there's still little flavor text. The Junkyard flavor text is all Drifter and the Spider talking to each other.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so the ship I think is Spider commenting on I think it's like collecting like basically there is no word for like waste in the Elixni language. That's something that only exists in human language, like something like that. And then I want to say the Sparrow. Yeah, it's the Sparrow. It's Drifter talking about. He's like, there's all kinds of golden age tech out there that the Darkness never even tried to get. It makes you wonder if it was ever that good to begin with, or like something like that. He's like, why are you even going after it if they don't bother with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm really excited. I feel like they already kind of have the makings of a little like buddy comedy between between those two. I would love to see a comic that fleshed out how the Drifter gets the Spider out.
Yeah. That'll be definitely interesting about that. Yeah.
Mm. I mean, for sure. Uh, another one that's really becoming popular as I see it is who is in control of Zivu Arath. So as our local hive expert, what are your thoughts, Lucy?
Well, my assumption is, well, as we've seen in this, like the little like story that we've done and the dialogue we get from doing like the seasonal activity and doing the Shattered Realm. I almost called it Shattered Throne 2. By doing that, we get some little hints and dialogue that with Savathun no longer in control of the Taken because Kyoria is dead. The Taken serve someone else, not Xivu Wrath, but they're not Oryx, because Oryx is dead, but their original master. Because see, Oryx didn't get the ability to he didn't come up with the ability to take, he stole it. Or sort of. He, after killing Akka, the worm god of lies, if I remember correctly.
He's the honest one.
Oh, right, the honest one. Yes, sorry. After Oryx slew Akka, the honest worm, Oryx was given an audience with the darkness itself, and it was not recorded what was said between Oryx and the darkness. All that we know is that Oryx went in one way and came out the Taken King. And had the ability to take. So that is not, I think that is something that is inherently dark. I won't say dark, but I mean like darkness, like capital D darkness, like that sort of thing. So I think that the Taken aren't being controlled by Xivu Wrath, but they're being controlled by the capital D darkness now. The capital D darkness, like, alright, these Hive have had their fun with this. Oryx is dead.
So
Savathun can't.
Not the worm gods.
No, I don't think it's the worm gods. I think it went back to the source. Which it wasn't from the worm gods to begin with. I think it went back to the darkness itself.
So here's a question for you. Why would Quoria, something taken by Oryx and given in submission to Savathun, why would Quoria be the key to circumventing the control of the Taken from that source to begin with?
Well, dialogue from Toland and snippets in the Dreaming City and with last season, and sort of using truth to power as a sort of source, kinda. Kyoria was basically simulating Oryx, which gave Savathun the ability to control the Taken.
Well, wait, that just brings up a whole lot of other questions.
Yes, but now,
how was Quoria able to simulate Oryx, or was maybe Quoria simulating like a shadow of Oryx, which is a bit more of like a Taken form?
Yeah, my assumption is it would be like the Taken form, because
that'd be a second example of being able to sort of simulate or replicate it, because the 9 were able to do something similar.
Yeah, the 9 have their Faken, as we like to call them.
Right.
Their fake Taken.
In the head, a Faken shadow of Oryx.
So it could be like that, but more real. But basically, the way I understood it is Kyoria, because Savathun had Kyoria, Savathun was able to control the Taken. With Kyoria now being dead, Savathun doesn't have control of the Taken anymore. And
it's so wild to me that you know me being the eternal skeptic of the pair. It's so wild to me that Quoria would be the linchpin, and that Savathun would like not only allow us, but like all things considered, if the popular consensus in game is she was surprised by something we did, no, she expected it.
Yeah.
And so I just like as I've submitted before, even last season, could that have been a simulation of Quoria? Like, I just don't understand why she would ever put
she did it
that much leverage actually on the line.
Maybe she did it on purpose. Think about it. It makes sense. Hear
But
me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
to what end?
Think about the whole check boxes you have to be resurrected by the light. Bravery, devotion, sacrifice. She's put all of these chess pieces in place so that through the traveler's perspective, she becomes worthy of the light. So by sacrificing Curia, it's to that end. I think, in my opinion. What about you? You
I
don't necessarily.
so for well so for me I think if I'm to trust the lore that we have, and this is coming from other sources, not Savathun herself, if I'm to trust them in any fashion, I have to believe that whenever she presents something to us easily, i.e., us killing Korea, that's not the truth. That's what she wants us to think happened. So that one thing that's really like keeping me from saying with 100% certainty that we actually killed Korea is that everyone seems to agree that we did.
Yeah,
And if we can't trust Savathun in anything else that she's saying, why should we trust her in agreeing with us on that?
true.
It just seems too simple. Like, you could control all of the Taken and we killed it in a strike, not even a raid. Or essentially a strike. You could solo kill her.
Yeah. I mean, you also have to remember from like a gameplay perspective, they can't make everything raid bosses. They just can't.
I agree with that. I agree with that, but it's the scale of it's a scale of the character. Like, even if how can I say this? Nokris had a fraction of what Korea seems to give you in power by way of the Taken, and he was at least a strike. You had to have two other buddies.
Yeah. It's all about, I think, I don't know. I just.
It could be just how they had to deliver
That's
it.
what I'm thinking. That's what I'm
COVID,
thinking. But
extra world stuff involved. But as far as like in-game lore, we all agree that we killed Korea too easily. Even Savathun, before the reveal, didn't seem that upset about it. Doesn't still seem that upset about it.
yeah, so I'm thinking it might have
So,
just been her plan. She wanted Curia dead because maybe she didn't need Curia anymore. She didn't need the Taken anymore. She's like, I don't need that. I've got this plan with using the Hive Ghosts and the light, and it'll work.
so the one issue, the one thing that sticks out to me about that type of plan is if you're running from someone, why would you give them another thing in their arsenal to hunt you with?
No idea. I'm not Savathun.
Okay, yeah, there might be some like 40 chess I'm not seeing, but like it's just and things can be Hickham's dictum. Things can be as complicated as they damn well please. It's just me trying to make it simple in my brain so that I can connect these dots. That's a big gap for me. Is just why would you even do that? And maybe there is some gain. Maybe that's she has to make herself vulnerable so that Mara will consider helping her.
Maybe.
She ran the simulations. I don't see. Yeah, like something like that. Like I hope it's explained. I hope it's not something they skip over. Because if we keep going down the line and there was no, and it just turns out like, oh yeah, no, like that Corey's dead. Like over. That's done with now. You did it by yourself solo. Like that's just wild to me. But not that there's anything wrong with that. I understand restrictions in development and no hate on the dev crew or Bungie or anything like that. It's just surprising.
Yeah, because like I guess in a perfect world, Curia would have had this like dungeon and everything else, but I think
I feel like you'd have to work more. Not even like that there needs to be like some grandiose level that you go after. I just feel like we would have to again, I guess where maybe I'm projecting a little much on this. I just don't understand why you would take like your biggest like weapon. Because Korea was Savathun's like biggest weapon.
yeah, no, I agree.
And why would you sacrifice it for what seems to be just allowing yourself at the mercy? Because also, like another thing, we don't know what Mara's getting out of this. It really doesn't seem like maybe I missed something. Like I don't know what Marasov gets out of this contract.
She gets the how to defeat the pyramids, and I guess how to end of the Dreaming City curse.
I think it's the curse.
Yeah, it's the
I think
curse, but
that's
no,
what I forgot.
Savathun's is like it's like in the. I know I've read it somewhere where basically she's getting Savathun will tell her how to defeat the Black Fleet because Mara has tried literally everything she has available to try and stop them, and nothing's working. So they need something.
But Savathun can't stop him either. Like that's this is the most ludicrous arrangement. Because if Savathun could stop them, she would.
Not unless it's all part of her plan to not stop them. Yes.
But now you're starting to sound like me because the largest part of this is, I mean, hey, what if it's a triple cross? What if she's still working with the darkness all along? She's just getting us to free her from their bargains so that she can be their external ally in making hive ghosts and doing some silly shit.
Possibly. I was trying to see where I know I had read it somewhere or heard it or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions for this. As far as I can tell, there seems to be a lot of everyone's ready to double cross everyone, and the person who seems the most confident is also in the most vulnerable position,
Yes.
i.e., Savathun. So I gotta feel like this ends poorly for Mara in the Dreaming City.
Probably.
I don't know if she's gonna come out on top this time.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Not 100%, but on I guess that sort of note, Lucy, do you want to move into some predictions? Like, how do you think things are going to play out this season?
Well, we kinda, sort of know because of the Witch Queen. We know that, Savathun's alive right now. One of the checkboxes to be a guardian is you need to die to be a guardian. Like, that's just how it works. Savathun's alive right now. She needs to die. So my guess is we kill her at the end of this season, which then leads to her being resurrected in the beginning of Witch Queen with a ghost and the little blue eyes and all of her little hive ghost friends. That's my theory.
Her ghosts have green
Hive
eyes.
have blue eyes. The hive. The hive have blue eyes.
Ooh,
And her little ghosts.
So,
Ooh.
so I wonder because she's air quotes died before.
But
And
I'm saying we're gonna remove the worm and then kill her.
or she'll die
Something
by way
like
of removing
that.
the
Something
worm,
like that. Where
ipso facto
basically
type of thing. Like,
we
yeah,
remove the worm and then kill her, or removing the worm kills her. Something like that. Sure.
she pulls a Toland. She pulls a reverse Toland. Tolan hears the witch song, his ghost, and he and the entire fire team dies, and then he resurrects as that little bundle of light that can go into the ascendant plane. Reverse of that, she pulls this, okay, yeah, remove my worm, get me out of my contract. Worm gets removed, she dies, and then little Hyvie Ghost comes up and is like,
Pretty
oh,
much.
click,
Something
click,
like
click.
that. There's that, and then my guess is that, I mean, obviously from like the trailer we see Crow and Petra and Mara chit chat more. So my guess is that Mara tries to like nudge Crow to like, come back, bro. You're my bro. Be my homie, Put on the facade.
I
Basically
hope
put
he
on this
doesn't go for
facade to
the
try and
bait.
get him back, and then she hopefully realizes that now he's his own person now.
Well, no, he's probably
Well,
Alduin again,
you
or
know what I
whatever his
mean. Like
actual
he's
name
not,
was.
but you
Probably
know what I mean.
Edwin.
He's Crow now. He's not. He's not
Something silly.
Aldrin. He's not the same person. Is what I'm saying.
He's he's no longer
In Mara.
rebuilt by Mara. It really makes me wonder because we don't really have any record of him before being
The
unawoken. We
beginning of
only
Mara
have
Senna. Yeah.
we only have yeah, we only have the beginning of Maro Senna. So I wonder if with some stuff coming to light this season about like I mentioned earlier about she kind of lies to our face,
Yeah.
Mara does, in talking about Crow's demeanor, and she tries to kind of say like even now he's lost, like this, that, the other. I I wonder if hmm, I wonder if she reimagined him the way that she did as Aldrin because he was naturally rebellious against her in
Eh,
reality.
yeah. I could see that. I could see that. But yeah, my hope. Sorry.
Because she
No, you go ahead. You go
I
ahead.
was gonna say it just seems to me that maybe him existing with a mind of his own, especially as a paracausal being, seems to actually be a worry for her because this is the first, like agree or disagree, like let me know what you think, Lucy. But I think this is actually a first sign of weakness we've really seen
Yeah.
from
No.
Mara.
I definitely kind of see that because Mara's like, I don't think she anticipated his death. I think she knew he was gonna die when the Taken King happened, but I don't think she
Mhm.
anticipated him getting becoming a guardian. I don't think she anticipated that at all. So it's almost like you're walking on a tightrope and you falter first. Like you're like, oh god. I feel like that's kind of what, like, Mara wasn't expecting this. I mean, she knew. Like, once she knew, she's like, okay. But I don't think it was part of her 5-dimensional cube chessboard that she's doing with Sabatha. I don't know if that necessarily was part of her overarching plan. That Aldrin would die, become a guardian.
I would agree with that, yeah, and that's why I think it worries her. I think his because she's smart enough to kind of figure out that, especially after having met other awoken guardians,
Yeah.
that they're and being able to coax some of them like Eris,
Eris isn't awoken, though.
sort of back into the
Eris is not awoken, no.
yeah, I guess I missed that bit about Eris. Willing to call myself out there. I had yeah, no, I didn't get that stuff saying she was a human, but that sounds cool as fuck.
Yeah.
So if she was human and she's brought under, well, that brings her whole like skin tone. Like, why is she so like blue pale?
I mean,
there's a lot of skin tone. Her whole complexion is now like I get that she has crying hive eyes, but like oh man, that's like a whole thing now that I need to investigate because I'm just like what happened to you, like
the bad
or
stuff. I
actually
mean, to be fair,
well
she was
actually I
in the
wonder.
Hellmouth for a long, long, long time.
And she survived a witch song, so I wonder if that's kind of if what happened to her as a light paracausal being, losing her ghost and being exposed to all that, kind of left her in a similar state to the Awoken,
I mean, yeah, I
who
could
are
see
who are like
that where,
kind of
you
caught
know, she
between.
has the light and then being bombarded with all this darkness is very similar to what happened to the Awoken aboard the Exodus Green, where they had the shockwave from the Traveler mixing with the gravitational waves of the darkness, and they got caught in the middle. I could see that, but as it stands, I don't know. Eris is human. She's just pasty white because she spent a long time in caves and darkness. I don't know. Like, we don't know. She's spooky. She's supposed to be spooky looking.
Honestly, that makes me more inclined to say that Savathun is her my queen than Mara ever was. But then there's that lore of her like going in and working for Mara and getting what I thought was like reacquainted. But yeah,
So
that's
you
wild.
think Eris Morn is Savathun in disguise? Are you saying everyone's Savathun?
Oh, I don't think she is Savathun. Not by a long shot. She's actively working against the hive. Like I don't think whatever she is an agent of the darkness by any stretch.
Okay.
Um. Okay. I gotta say one thing that all of that makes me wonder is especially as we've seen how the dark future
Plays out?
like a possibility of a timeline where obviously darkness wins and you know all the people we just talked about were major players. I seriously wonder Mara's allegiance to her own people because there's few to none awoken with her. I believe she's just like churning clones out of the Leviathan
Yeah.
for her army. And so if she's capable in the one timeline of using them all as disposable pieces, I just going back to what started the conversation, I sincerely wonder if what she's worried about is that what was an important piece, a high ranking piece of her, Aldrin, is now no longer in her deck. And
Yeah.
I think that might unravel her a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, as we've seen, like, before, Mara Sov is pretty much willing to do whatever it takes, sacrifice whatever means to achieve her end goal. She sacrificed her fleet in the Taken King, she sacrificed the Dreaming City, and yeah. So I think she's willing to do whatever it takes to win this five-dimensional chessboard she's playing.
It's 5 dimensions.
Yes, I just said 5 dimensions. 5-dimensional chess with time travel. There we go. It's an actual game you can get on Steam. My brother has it.
5 dimensional chess with time travel. Can you go back in time and change your move?
Yes, my brother has won before the game even started. It doesn't make any sense. I've tried playing it. It hurts my head. It doesn't make sense because I'm like, wait, what? You just.
I moved a pawn and you've conquered my
Mm-hmm.
queen?
It makes absolutely no sense, which is why it's so funny.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna check out this game on the Steams. Um, Sort of final thoughts. What do you think will be
The end result?
the catalyst? Do you think? Hmm. How do you think once we get all the Techians? I'm gonna put this a little closer to before February. Once we get all the Techians, how do you think that's gonna work out?
Ooh.
How do you think whatever they're going to do you think they're going to succeed in what they're going to do? Do you think Mara's going to pull like a sneaky?
I
What do you think?
I hope so. I hope she has, like Saint said in this week's mission. I love Saint. I feel so bad for him right now.
I didn't get
You didn't
Saint
get
dialogue.
Saint dialogue this week? When you were, not this week's mission, sorry,
Uh-uh.
the Shattered Realm thing. You didn't?
No, I didn't
What?
get Saint dialogue.
I've done it like 5 times, and every single time I got Saint dialogue. That's weird. Basically,
I've done it the one time. I played a lot of Iron Banner this week.
Iron Banana. Basically, the Saint dialogue that I got, where Saint is like, we're doing this whole thing where we're pretending to help Savathun, but then we're gonna kill her, right? Everyone's like, hold on off of that. And I'm like, come on, no. I feel like, I hate to, the Saint is right. We need to like, but that's the thing, you can't trick the goddess or the god of trickery. You can't, because they'll just, you get what I'm saying? Like, she's gonna expect it because that's her thing. That's her wheelhouse. That's her niche. That's like what she's known for. Trickery. So you can't really out trick the god of trickery. That's like, that's crazy.
Can I offer something?
Sure.
I feel like Saint's the best person to go up against her because he would be very deliberate and open about what he was going to do. No, I'm going to shoot you in your face.
Yes.
And then he does it, and she's like, "Oh,
like, oh no, Blark," and then she's dead. Well, that's the thing. Like, I really, 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 really hope Osiris isn't actually dead, because if he's dead, then Bungie is again doing the bury your gaze trope. They've done it 3 times now, and it's really annoying me. It bothers.
Who were the
Shiraido, Marasov's lover. Carmen in the comics was like presumed to be dead until they did at the very end where they debated us. Like, oh look, she's alive, yay! But like up until like the last issue, it was like, oh, she's dead, because of how Anna would like look at the little hologram of Carmen and be all sad, and I was just like, oh, she's dead. That's because she got sick or whatever. That's kind of the vibe I got until we get to the very last one. It's like, oh, okay, she's alive. Okay. So that's like, but we haven't seen Carmen in game. She's only mentioned in lore entries very sparingly, or in the comic.
Yeah, she's more a comic centric character for sure.
And then we finally have I mean, we also have Mark and Devram, but again, that's not like Osiris and Saint, those are like main characters in the Destiny universe. And to just like have them have, Osiris literally broke time to get Saint 14 back. Literally broke time using the sundial, and he sent all of his reflections into the corridors of time to try and find Saint, and most of the reflections either went crazy or killed themselves, or like they just couldn't do it. So we bring back Saint and everything's great, and then Osiris is like, I gotta go do things. I gotta go do these things. And then Sagira dies, and then Osiris is replaced with Savathun. And this whole past year, it hasn't been Osiris, and they just deserve to be happy. And if they kill off Osiris, I'm gonna be really disappointed in the writing team at Bungie, because, like, it's one thing having, characters in the lore, and, like, in the background be, like, LGBT and happy. We don't have a lot of those in Destiny, by the way. But it's another thing if it's characters that are in the forefront that are the main characters in. Like I would argue that Saint and Osiris are main characters in Destiny, like with like Zavala and Ikora. Like they're not like super duper duper. They're not like top, but they're up there. They're up there. They're like legends and that sort of a thing. And to introduce them as, lovers and that sort of thing, just to then kill off Osiris, that's poor writing, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, it's supposed to pull at our heartstrings, make us feel sad, but that trope has been done again and again and again in media, and I am very tired of writers like just killing off gay people. It makes me mad. Rant over.
For
Sorry.
Sure. I'm really excited to see where, speaking of relationships, a lot of relationships come to a head. I think what Saint's doing right now, in trying to find Osiris and kill his captor, I think that's totally in character. And I really am excited to see how that pans out. And kind of like what you said, I can't wait to see the reunion, and I hope that's where it goes. I hope it's not, or I hope it's not even like some weird reverse of that where Saint dies getting like that would suck too. Like yeah.
Not Saint.
That would suck so much too. Yeah, like he just undied.
He just undied. Like not even a year ago. Bungie, please.
Like not even a year ago. Like let them have like a honeymoon or something. Lucy, I'm really excited to see where this season goes. Just to round it all back, I really think there's going to be an interesting dynamic between Mara and Savathun, as I think we both said. I'm really interested to see Mara and Crow, and literally all of the Awoken, Crow and Petra, Crow and any random Awoken character. I'm excited to see their interaction as well. And it's really kind of interesting how sweet Pulled Pork, or I forget his new name.
Glint.
It's kind of sweet to see how he kind of like tries to push him back toward his family. He's like, "No, you've actually got family, bro." Nudge nudge.
Maybe.
Like, are you having a good time? Like, are you liking being Awoken? And I loved Crow's response. It's hard to identify with people who existed for eons in a paracausal hole. Space magic people born from me. Like, I really appreciate that, especially coming from the the Guardian formerly known as Aldrin. I really appreciated that. So any final thoughts on your side? Anything that you want to like mark your words on now as to watch out for?
I guess just I don't know. I'm curious about Savathun and all of the stuff she's been telling us. 'Cause what is the truth? Is she telling the truth? Is she lying? We don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Play the waiting game and find out.
Can we do those memes tonight?
Memes, yes. Dank memes.
Can we do those X-Files memes tonight? Can we do that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I'm an excited boy now. Sorry. I'll
Good job. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Quite similarly, I really want to, as I've said, I want to see those things and more. So yeah. As for my shout out, I'm gonna give a bit of a topical one. Shout out to the 15 million women in Texas who now have to potentially either leave state or find some help to get out of state for their care, and their rights. So not to be too topical, here in the United States, we had a certain court decision today that really impacted a lot of people, especially women. So my shout out and my heart goes out to them.
Yes, I hate Texas. I wasn't supposed to say where it was I? Whoopsies.
I already said Texas.
Oh, you did? I didn't hear the Texas part.
Yeah, no.
So,
It was the 15 million
fuck
women in
Texas.
Texas.
No, fuck Texas. I hate Texas. All my homies hate Texas. I'm apologizing if you live there, because Texas sucks. But
there was a big thing about the don't go to Texas.
Yeah, no, I read it yesterday. It makes me mad.
Yeah. So that was my shout. Do you have any shout outs, Lizzie?
I don't know. I guess shout out to Bungie for making a banger season opening so far. And I look forward to seeing what the rest of the season holds. Yeah.
I wanna give an interpersonal shout out on your behalf to Kelsey, your partner, who you're about to do some vacation with.
Yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, I'm going on vacation.
Nice. I'm excited. I'm excited for you and for the vacation.
I'm a little nervous, but I think everything will be fine.
Hopefully it's like that good kind of like, you know, your expectations are so high because you're so excited, and then once you get there and you actually see your Siggo, you're just like, like stress relieved, like a lot of weight off my shoulder almost immediately. Big hugs.
Fully. That's the plan.
Excitement.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, I'm pulling for it. I'm excited for it. So with that, everyone, listeners, stay hydrated, stay safe. There were some hurricanes and storms coming up through the southeastern coast of the U.S. here this week. So, like, additional shout out to all my people without power in Louisiana right now, and then affected areas. Like, we've been dealing with tropical storm downgrade here in DC today, but I hope you all get power and resources back soon. But yeah, everyone, drink water. Go outside sometimes. Take your game with you. I'm not saying you gotta stop gaming, but sometimes it's nice to be outside while the weather's nice, if you can do it. Treat yourself. Have that proverbial ice cream. Like, do something nice for yourself just because you can. And, be safe. We want to see you here next week, and I hope we do. So until then, bye-bye. We'll see you.
Doodles. Hats off, Guardians. That's it for this week's discussion. Have any questions or comments about this episode? You can reach out to us on Twitter @SpinfoilTheory, or write us an email at spinfoiltheory@gmail.com. If you'd like to read our show notes, check out articles, listen to past episodes, and more, be sure to pay us a visit over at our website, spinfoiltheory.com.
The Lore Network.